people being starved, tortured, and treated inhumanely, of how they appear emaciated, victims of
I
starvation
think
and
everything
abuse.
about to switch from the white.
Not
You think
once
white people gonna be
realizing
enslaved, Tommy?
how much this description matches his own
They keep
government's
it up, they might
actions
get extinct.
against an entire civilian population, the Palestinian people in the Gaza Strip.
They killing folks
And
across
he
that shit you doing
concluded
across seas. That's
his
fucked
letter
up.
saying, and I quote, "One must wonder who is really being starved in Gaza." End of quotation. A despicable denial of what is evident for all the world to see, and trying once again to use the plight of Israelis held captive to cover his government's crimes or to justify them. Mr. President, Israel is demanding the world to take a stance against starvation when it is actually starving an entire civilian population, when it is shooting at them while they seek water and food, with the most severe effects on the most vulnerable, with infants and children dying, and with those surviving facing untold pain and trauma. It is demanding that the world take a stance against conditions of captivity of Israelis when it is holding 2 million people captive under its deadly siege, when 76 Palestinian prisoners have died under torture or starving or due to medical neglect in the last 20 months alone, when there are videos of Israeli jailers raping, beating, and humiliating Palestinian prisoners. When the world has seen the images of hundreds of Palestinians arrested, men and boys, placed almost naked on trucks and taken away, several of them having disappeared since.
Damn.
When 10,000 Palestinians
Yeah,
languished in Israeli jails,
that's what Israel's been doing to them.
thousands of them under administrative detention, the most arbitrary
This is the UN.
form of detention. When hundreds of our children remain detained. When Israel has held prisoners over 1 million Palestinians since the onset of the occupation 58 years ago. When it has held the remains of Palestinians for years and decades. Mr. President, the killing of civilians is unacceptable in all circumstances. Let me repeat. The killing of civilians, all civilians, is unacceptable in all circumstances. The killing of children is unacceptable in all circumstances. We should not tolerate harming or killing a single child, regardless of what nationality or faith they adhere.
Hey man, stop killing the
Those who
kids.
need to ask what is the
That's what they're doing.
nationality or faith of
Leave
the
the kids alone.
perpetrator and
Somebody
of
take
the
mine,
victim
but I'm
to
telling
decide
you.
if you are outraged or not, should go check their humanity. Torture and ill treatment of those held captive are unacceptable under any circumstances. They cannot be justified in some cases and condemned in others. Israel says the videos of Ron and Abiyatar are unacceptable means of pressure. And they are. Just as when it has abducted thousands of civilians as bargaining chips, and when it is starving millions of civilians as a method of pressure, as its leaders have confessed before finding a new narrative given the international outcry. Mr. President, when Israel says this is a war of civilization against barbarism, it means that its barbaric acts have to be condoned because the perpetrators are Israelis and the victims are Palestinians. It does not even see the irony of it resorting to such images that have been used and abused by colonial powers who claimed to represent civilization against barbarism to justify their atrocities. That is why Israel's foreign minister fails to grasp how his moral lessons
He
to the
about
rest
to
of
look
the
at him.
world,
He dog sideways and
exposing
shit in the
his
seat.
closest
That's some
allies,
Israelis.
explaining that they should act according to his own very peculiar view of the law and humanity, sound totally tone deaf, are a source of worldwide contempt for him and his government. But as we reject selective outrage, we should not practice it ourselves. We oppose and reject all attacks against civilians, whether Palestinians or Israelis. There is nothing that justifies harming civilians or those no longer taking part in hostilities. You cannot justify it by calling them terrorists, and you cannot justify it by saying they are occupiers. The rules of international law must be upheld by all and for all to preserve our shared humanity. Mr. President, allow me to address the Israeli people. Your government wants you to believe that the whole world is conspiring against you, that the Palestinian people are terrorists, that the UN is filled with terrorists and terrorist supporters, that your closest allies are your enemies.